this game, you're not ready for it.
Hey, oh, gosh. Okay. Let's just put this a little lower. Alrighties. Okay. I always enjoy the Witcher soundtrack. Do you enjoy the Witcher soundtrack? Man, it just always touch my heart. I always think of the good old days, you know? Always think of the good old days playing Witcher. Oh gosh. Hey, how's it going? My friend. I got some stuff prepared. Yeah, so yesterday was a great stream. We were playing some Sworn. It was a great stream. Hopefully we play today, tonight. Yeah, hopefully after this there's gonna be like a little thing that I again prepared for talking. You know, I have some mysteries or the to unpack a little of the biggest mysteries of why the cost of the video games just spiraled out of control. It's a pretty cool topic. We're gonna talk about the costs of since we play Yotei. So I was looking into a couple things. And we've been talking a little bit about stuff. And yesterday, Chef actually, one of the viewers were giving some cool tips, or we were just like having conversation and just got us onto thinking and talking about other studios that spending money and all that. So I thought that can be a good talk today, something to talk about. So I have something prepared to go through. And also Rosad Realmir Realmir. And also after that, so that's gonna take probably like 30-40 minutes, hopefully not that long. I mean, it really depends. I have like a couple things, points that we're gonna go through. And then probably playing the Sworn. Hey Miraz, how was the concert? Shit, you know what? I'm not gonna talk about it like this, because I just realizing there's an incognito. So let's just talk the projects in here. I can talk about it if you want to talk. Hey, I don't want you to get in trouble. But yeah, we are here. We had some. Yeah, man. I want to know. We will talk later, no? About because do you want to play Sworn later? For anyone who want to actually join to go and play Sworn, we will be playing today. Andrew is coming. Another YouTuber is coming. We're gonna be playing. So we're gonna have 1-2 YouTubers going together. Playing Sworn. We never played in 3. I played only co-ops, but the 3 there's an Andrew, actually another Sworn player. So we're gonna be playing 3 then. Hey, I'm doing good, man. We were playing up until 2 a.m. I seen the video, bro. That was a great run. You almost finished it, man. That's good. Yeah, so the Sworn is the next after this. Oh, Andrew, actually before we jump on the Sworn, I have in here, I was preparing a little points about the Yotei. Like it's gonna take like 20 to 30 minutes. Just talk business, man. The game industries. I thought it would be really like a little controversies. Oh yeah. Just go play Battlefield, and then I'll let you know. We're gonna be playing with Andrew, so you can then join us. Go play Battlefield. That's another game that unfortunately I don't have the time for, but and money. Fucking it's just like it's you can be spending like on a loop, dude. Like it's every month it's like 1-2 games, and you just be like fucking I need this, I need this. I need to fucking just step back. Sometimes we have to do like we have to choose, pick and choose, you know. You can't have it all, bro. Like I can't have it all. So yeah. So let me just start. This would be really interesting. I hope it's gonna be interesting. It took me a little while. I was sitting in here since the morning doing research. What is going on? And since we play Yotei, and I just wanna like start with this really cool thing. Like, I just wanted to essentially unpack the biggest mysteries. Why the cost of the video games spiraled out of control. Because there is this I have like this $300 million question, essentially. It's and you know, like if you think about like I went pretty deep with the research, and specifically Sony's. And we have some, you know, if you remember the Insomniac leak from Spider-Man 2, that last one cost like $300 million. And that's why I'm like, okay, $300 million, why is that? Why is it cost so much money? Because we have also like another very unverified, actually, there's like a verified leaks or rumors, like the $400 million of Concord, if you remember. That was another, there was the guy, the Colin Moriarty. I don't know how you spell the guy, but he also was talking about that. And there was a 400 million, but that's not verified. It's just a rumor. So I'm just want to keep and stay with the Spider-Man 300 million that we got the leak from Insomniac, and we know the numbers. Which I'm gonna pull out very soon, everything in here. But the question for me was, how is it even possible for a essentially 15-hour game? Well, video game, I mean, unless you go and you complete everything. I don't know. Have you played the Spider-Man 2? How many hours it took? It's the game, you can rush through it in 15 hours. And then I'm like, if I put that in perspective, the $300 million budget, like for the Dune Part 2, was very similar. I know games are just way more expensive, but you know, just I kind of want to actually pull out this number. Let me actually put this up. So we're gonna start actually doing some stuff, and I ran into Joe Raptor in here. This guy is he's really big he's really good. Like, he's a great YouTuber, but he was I'm not logged in again. But he essentially posted another thing over here, and it says a Ghost of Yotei budget will seemingly be around the same as a Ghost of Tsushima. Right? This is a tweet from like 3 weeks ago, and he actually comparing these numbers in here. Right, we have a Spider-Man, the $90 million, and sequel budget for $300 million. Then you have a Horizon 1 that cost $60 million, to the Horizon 2 $212 million, and then Last of Us, not 20, to whooping 240. What do you say, brother? And it's like I'm having this question. It's like, how is it possible? Like, it's way beyond the inflation, brother. You know, it is way beyond the inflation, and there must be something else going on. You know, so while you're seeing the essentially spending skyrocketing, right, but sales performance is is not skyrocketing at all, because as you can see again, I'm gonna actually show more data about that, but you basically creating this massive financial problem for a studio. It's pretty big risk also for the studios to do such a thing, like, oh, there's a $300 million investment all of a sudden. So you would think, oh, if I spend 3 times more, oh, this is 10 times basically, but if I spend 3 times more, you gain more, right? Which is like in a Horizon Forbidden, for example, this Horizon, right? Forbidden for Biden cost 212 million against the 60 million. And you would think that this one would sold more than this one, but the funny thing is it sold actually the same. So, that's the first point. Like, I was like, okay, let me investigate a little bit. Why is that even possible? What's going on? Maybe marketing. There can be anything, at this point. I'm gonna actually talk about all of those because there's an investigation that I did. And if the money isn't just going into making games that sell way more copies, where the money goes. So you say it can be marketing, can be whatever, right? But, like, I have something really fucking interesting in here. So let me pull out. So there's a one potential culprit is what people pointing is. If you ever heard about the bougie studio culture, I want to this is one of the things that people talk about. Like, people may have too lavish skyscraper offices, or they even have a private chefs in they either have in-house gyms and saunas, expensive furniture and renovations, etc., catered foods and drinks all day. And the main reason can be to retain the talent. They need a good programmers, good developers, so they want to retain the talent and just keep them in. I want to bring one of the beautiful. I have here another thing in comparison. For example, when I was looking for the Kojima production offices, if you look at the offices, they're not so bad, right? I don't know if you see that. This office, for example, doesn't look as it's too much. It looks pretty humble office, people go and work and they just work in these kind of spaces. Doesn't look that bad, right? Yeah, of course they might have some beautiful vistas, right? But that's kind of all, right? That's, for example, Kojima's offices. It's pretty humble. But then if I open, for example, this guy was actually the environmental designer for sci-fi games. He did the Phantom Blade. You probably heard about this studio. And they have something like this, bro. Look at this. Oh, God. What is this? This is cool, right? That can be one of the reasons why games cost so much. Because look at this. Bro, there's so much according as game designed by Lix Architecture. Look at these, bro. Those are offices. Those are actually offices that people work in. That's the one of the things. Again, this is fucking office, bro. This is this is where they oh my God, this is crazy. Black isn't absorbing. It's actually insane. What did it say? A facility to make a difference, bro. I'm telling you, again, think about maybe they just, again, there is a retaining talent. They offering these amenities to the people that actually working on those games. Okay, yes, okay. There's inflation, okay, but it's just it kind of reminded me also That kind of reminded me also of the one of the day live employee video that is have excessive spending, which really is just a bad look. And I'm gonna actually put this down. Actually, we have to turn this off. Yeah, I had a Witcher behind me, and that really reminded me this thing. Look at this. You can actually laugh. The employee was. It has nothing to do with the gaming, but this is from the office in a Facebook. And they always showing like how people eats and like look at the day of the person in a Facebook.
After I had my coffee because I feel like I'm so much better with caffeine. So I'm a remote employee, but today I fly into Austin to go to the downtown Austin office. This place is massive with 20 plus floors, so because I don't know where I'm going, I head to the Wayfinder and search for the closest cafe. I make my way to breakfast and decide to have tofu smashed and scrambled eggs. Yes, I'm a vegetarian and been that way for 7 years. After breakfast, I grab a bran and almond flour and an yerba mate drink to bring me through the next 4 meetings. Because I don't sit in the office, I actually don't have a seat. So I make my way to the library to find a cozy spot to take the next 4 hours worth of meetings. Done with meetings, and I realize that I forget to bring my toothbrush. Good news for me is Uncle Zuck already thought about that. Wait, who's that? Hey, girl, hey. Anyways, off to lunch to meet my totally badass minority sister friend who is completely self-made, dominated the ad business. We go to this bougie little country club place for midday cocktails. Back to the office. In full transparency, I only go back to the office to take pictures and hang out on the terrace. Time to grab a Red Bull after a long day at work, and suddenly I realized, damn, I drink too much coffee. Anyways, ladies, follow me if you want to live the Fang life, and I'll give you tips.
You see, brother, you see what you see what I'm saying? It's they just like, I'm not saying this is exactly, but like it can be very similar to the spending, how actually. Yeah, so this is a day and life in the employee video in a Facebook, right? I know we talking the game industries, but this is basically what is looks like for some of the, who knows, like it's not gonna be in Sucker Punch though. I'm gonna actually get right into it, but it just when you see that, like, meanwhile you wake up early, right? And you to drive work, you packed your own lunch, and you got home feeling sore and tired, trying to provide for your family. And then you see fucking this, bro.
And tricks and best practice on how
Let me go. Oh, we have a meeting, bro.
Good news for me is Uncle Zuck already thought about that.
I'm just saying, it
that?
doesn't look like
Girl, hey.
It just doesn't look good, right? And there's like this sentiment for when you see videos like this, are the actual workers actually working on the games, right? Then when you see all these like meetings and having coffee in here and traveling through the corridor over there, and I just saw it like a little more problematic than cool, I not only that looks like one of the reasons like a misallocation, because again, as we were talking about previously, you have a private chef, sometimes you have in-house housing, in-house gyms and saunas, lavish skyscrapers, offices, all of that, as we mentioning. There's also like a probably like a significant chunk of these budgets may be going toward like high executive salaries and bonuses. Let me actually explain. Like Last of Us, Last of Us, Neil Druckmann. Bro, that was a game studio. Okay. Do you want to see it again? Do you want to see the game studios? Again, I'm gonna show you. Again, I'm gonna show you the difference. The difference of Phantom Blade, for example, studio right here that you just saw, right? Bam. Again, I know it's their money, but I got to talk shit about it, You can spend whatever, but hey, I can. This is Office. This is actually Office. Yeah. Instead, like Kojima's offices, very humble. The comparison, you have something like this, right? So that's one of those things, right? Okay, so but also as I was saying, that significant chunk can get into, I mean, going toward the high executives salaries and bonuses. And one of the like, I have something in here again, and I was talking about the Last of Us, the Neil Druckmann, and look at, like, again, I just see some really cool shit on Instagram. So let me just go back in here, and I don't know if you can see this. Wait a second. How do you actually? Am I able to zoom this thing in? Oh God! Control fucking hell. Why is this? Why it doesn't work? Control. Eh. Well, I I see these watches. I see the watch. The guys drunken play Gaiden on a Switch 2 like 10 weeks ago, but I'm checking his watches. I guess how much I think is these watches. I thought it was a $70,000 at first, but then I'm checking these. This look like the Aquanauts. They actually now cost 78,000. But these, if I actually zoom it in, these are 100% Aquanauts. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, as I'm saying, some money can actually go to, to the bonuses and salaries. Some same as like a Neil Druckmann had, and that was just again, hey, you got money, you got to spend money, right? I don't like what, like, I'm not here to tell you what to do with money, but again, I can get to talk about it a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, come on, why not? Like, if you have a $70,000 watch on your wrist, you're doing pretty good, and they deserve it. Like, it's a Last of Us, right? We all know they made tons of money, but the miss. It seems like there's other things that are a little suspect. Like, for example, some of the, and that's a little bit out of my understanding, but what I can really just say, like, they're canceled projects that being bundled into the budgets, something like meaning, like, for example, Spider-Man 2 or Last of Us Part 2. I was actually so looking forward for the Last of Us Part 2 when they were supposedly working on the multiplayer, that they were actually working for a long time, so there were money allocated into those projects, like live service projects, right? Or the multiplayer, and then they've been canceled. So it seemed to me, or it seems a little bit like, those canceled projects could have been potentially being bundled into those budgets. Like, if you have the budget of $200 million for The Last of Us, etc., which essentially is like 10 times more, because Last of Us Part 1 costs 20 million, and then you have a Last of Us Part 2 that costs 200 million, and then you see all these amenities and watches and and then you have the anomaly. I want to, like, really just bring this up, because there's this anomaly. The $60 million model. Not 200, not 300, no 400 million, but you have a $60 million model that actually Sucker Punch production come with, the Warhorse studio come with, and other indie developers come with, and it's usually around that money. There's a reported budget of a Ghost of Tsushima that costs $60 million, and the Yotei, the sequel, actually cost the same, about the same. And um it is like, how is it even again possible? There's very likely there's a like a two it boils down to the two things, like when is a deadline, developers tend to hire more people to get game done faster. And then the Sucker Punch do the quite opposite, where they keep the team the same size and take a longer to improve the quality, right? There's a really good term that Fleming actually used. There's a great term actually for it. It's called a man-year term. Um, I'm gonna actually put this up in here. And he actually, as I was reading, this is a really good article. Actually, I couldn't read the whole thing, but essentially, he was talking about the man years, a unit of work of, and what that really is, a unit of work equal to the work of the one person for 1 year. Sucker Punch kept this number the same. Now, to understand what the man year is, I actually pulled this up too, and I can really just explain in a work year or a man year. Work year, also known as a man year, is defined by the number of hours a person is expected to work in a specific period. This can vary depending on individual work contracts, work environment, and other factors. Generally speaking, a work year is usually 8 hours a day, we all know, for 5 days a week. That means 40 hours of work per week. Multiply this by the number of a week in a year, and you get 2080 work hours. 2080 hours work hours in a one work year. So what they've basically followed is the logic. I understood it. If you can make a work in 1 day as a one person, that's a man day. But if you do the same amount of the work and you put two people on the day, that would equal 2-man day. Even though they were working only 1 day, you count it as a 2-man day. Meaning the Sucker Punch really tried to keep the number that they had the project, they had the Tsushima project. They count the number of hours as an effort, how many hours it's gonna take, and they kept the number and they moved to the sequel, making get the same amount of effort hours or the man years, and that's how they budgeted so well. It's not like they all of a sudden get more people as other developers do, right? As other developers do, get more people to get their work done faster. They actually decided to do the quite opposite, to keep the number of people and get a little bit more time with it, like spend more time. But eventually, the Yotei didn't even take that long. It took quite similar. It took a little longer, but again, they didn't need to really but it cost the same amount of money. That's what I try to say. Because they budgeted it right. It's really, really cool. They had a really great planning, and how they actually managed that kind of planning. They maintained the consistent team size, right, of 150 people, which is very usual for nowadays. Even in Czech Republic, in Warhorse, they had around that same time of people, same number of people. They also reusing assets and technology from the first game. So if you play the Tsushima, there's nothing like, if you didn't play the Yotei, you kind of see the similar things. Well, they didn't invent the wheel; they just reused some assets and technologies that they were working on it, so they didn't need to spend as much money for development, right? It's a very smart way to do it. Also, if you have something very, like, I've seen couple comments that really triggered me. I'm like, there is like a guy talking about, oh, Yotei, it's the same game, it should be just the DLC. I think Amira, actually, one of my friend told me, like, this is crazy that someone actually in Czech was describing the Yotei as, oh, that's another game, another, it should be just DLC, blah blah blah. It's like, bro, why do you think that Sucker Punch did the kind of similar thing and just like built on top of, like, yes, it's original, it's not original as you say, or what they supposed to do, have something very successful, essentially printing machine for Sony, and recreate the whole game, like create a strategy, some RTS, fucking Ghosts of Yotei, or what about the role play, aka Baldur's Gate, Ghosts of Tsushima? That would have fucking, yeah, it would be new, but would it fucking work? I don't know, man. Why would you even do that? Like, of course, it's a Yotei, it's Tsushima, it's the same thing, right? Also, they didn't have to pay expensive licensing fees, because also that's another factor. Like Marvel Studio, like when they were doing the Spider-Man, that was a 25% cut, brother. Like from whatever the 300 million, like 25% was going, they didn't even see 25% from it. So it really created like this more humble studio culture, and that's how they did. Also, now if I move from the as I, like, we talking about the anomaly and how they did it, now the strategy to the sequel and how they've been actually profitable. So what is this Sucker Punch sequel solution? Because if we start talking about sequels, most of the time, like, you have, when you had a Horizon 1 and then you have a Horizon 2, or you have a, I think they wanted to take a new direction with the world they built. They added enough to be a sequel, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Yes. And like talking about sequels, what is the main problem in when you're making a sequel? For most of the people, it's usually take a little longer. There's like a big space between sequels. That's the one. So you have a different generation, like age generation, they're coming back to coming to play the game. For example, a lot of people that not played Ghost of Tsushima go play Ghost of Yotei, and that's a good thing, right? But how do you, if you do that with a Horizon, for example, you'll be like, you're gonna play Horizon 2. It's like, what are you doing? You should be playing 1, because you don't know the stories, you don't know all the lore. You need to go play and understand the actual story. What they did with the sequel, because you have the problem, right? Players usually forget the story and controls between the games. You know, it's usually a little different. God of War, you know, Horizon, Last of Us. Then you have alt fix. How do you fix that? You for example, from Horizon, you have to do like some long tutorial to, and recap, do the like some recap to introduce you again to the hero, and again tell you, kind of over tell the story again, just so that you understand it. So Yotei came with a new kind of approach, or the Sucker Punch, where when the sequel came, they're like, okay, the Jin Sakai was back in the day, 500 years ago, and now we're gonna have a new character. We're gonna introduce a new character with a shared origin story, but it's gonna be totally different. So anyone can play it, regardless if you play the Tsushima or not. That's a good one. Because what they Sucker Punch did with the Infamous, they kind of messed it up. It was kind of like, not that I really played the game, but there was like Infamous. They learn from their mistake essentially. And that brings me to that actually brings me to we talking about the sequel, and then we have this strategy of why was the problematic for example for something like Spider-Man 2, because Spider-Man 2 when it comes to money need it. And I have a nice archive in here. Look at this beautiful thing. You're gonna be actually pretty all right in here. If you look at this beauty, the okay, this is a important thing. So this is from the Kotaku archive. What I'm basically trying to say, this is really good because the Spider-Man 2 needed to sell 7.2 million copies at the full price to break even with the 25% revenue cut going to Marvel, because if we talk in Spider-Man, you have to pay for the rights. So you have a final cost was roughly 30 million over the original 270 million budget. That's the 25% of the cut. And according to the presentation, requiring 7.2 million, which they sold only 6.2 million. And if you like, that's crazy. You see how, because we're talking to $200 million. You comparing the budgets of $300 million to something like Ghost of Tsushima that had only $60 million. That's like you becoming like as a sucker punch, you becoming as this money making machine on the lean budget. It's actually really crazy. You know, I have another. This is I actually tell you, 13 million copies was sold against what? 7.2 to have to sell. So they had 6.1 million. Just put it in a perspective. 6.1 million cost you $300 million to make against 60 million to make. Sold 13 million copies. I mean, talking also the PC versions sold 1 million copies. We have the director's cut sold. It adds up. You know what I mean? It adds up. So that is a that is a one aspect of kind of like it's pretty crazy what they've been able to do. You know, that's then what happens with those different, you know, I'm really thinking about these let me actually switch. I'm thinking about these different expectations from different developers that they have. Like for example, BioWare, for example, they had the Dragon Age. They were also accounting for 3 million people playing the game. They didn't even get in a half. Like it was like 1.5 million people. It was actually flop because people got really disappointed, and the entire team was fired. But Sucker Punch and, for example, Santa Monica were untouched. You know, don't need to do any layoffs. You had Warhorse Studio, also very successful. First they sold 1 million copies, been already making money. Then you have a Expedition 33, have over 30 people working on it. Big money made. You know, that's why it's so important to really, like, for these developers, they start to understand, I think, the importance of allocation the money to do like a right thing with the money basically. And you know, then it doesn't reflect on you, because you know, if the developer can kind of cut cost and being efficient with it, then the game's not gonna cost you $90. But if you spending $300 million, how do you catch up? Well, you now have to do layoffs. Now you have to increase prices. and nobody's winning at that point. It's us gamers that have to pay for either more subscriptions or for bigger price of the games, and those are my thoughts. I'm curious of your thoughts. Leave the comment, brother, and questions if you have, you can drop over. But that's essentially what it is, and that was the whole thing that I was preparing. The industry's getting too big, bro. You're right about that, man. I thought it was, just if you really think of it, and this is just we are talking basically Sony's, right? What does it mean for the Sony? Sucker Punch making money, bro. They did something really well. Not sure what to do, but we can't keep paying sky high prices either. True? And I hope I'm gonna prepare something about the Xbox, because that's another fascinating and controversial topic. The Xbox, EA. Oh, let's see, because EA just bought a big, about that one. The EA just got the LBO deal, the part of the leverage buyout deal, essentially, was the biggest deal in the history, 55 billion. And why is it problematic, actually? For only now they sold, yeah. But like, what is it why is it problematic? I didn't prepare the whole like spiel about this, but the one take I got from this, there are gonna be people in the studios like BioWare, for example, that we were just talking. They are going to probably be layoffs over there, because why? Even like Saudi Arabia bought it, but they didn't bought it for the cash. They put just certain amount, because this is a leverage buyout. They used the debt. They got loan from the biggest probably loan in history from Chase. It was $20 billion. So that means if you have to pay this loan, right, you have to make money. You have to account how you're going to make money. And how you're going to make money, you have to account either you have to cut cost or you have to increase prices. Right? So usually what they do, they start laying people off, right? That's the first thing. And the main reason will be like the AI efficiency. They talking AIs and all that. But that's the one. And two, that's what we see, for example, in Xbox, when they just have the deal with the Call of Duty last year, that you can play Call of Duty Black Ops on the first day. And it was great, but who pay for it today? They had to increase the aggressive increase from $20 to $30. It's probably because the Call of Duty deal it was actually lose or lost deal. They didn't make really money. So what happens? What Xbox or Microsoft have to do? Well, we have to increase money all of a sudden, because we have to, you have to pay for our fuck ups. It wasn't worth it. That's what you see with Netflix. They were giving out a really good deals in beginning, even out of the cost of the company, just to get people onto the ecosystem. And once you get people hooked in for a certain amount of people get used to of the Netflix, people get used to of the subscription of Xbox, what's gonna happen? Well, they haven't been paying for any movies, for any entertainment. They just like, we good in here with to subscribe for, it used to be $10, $15, and now what? We have fucking Xbox used to be $5, bro. Subscribe. Oh, that was a great subscription. Why would you ever fucking pay for a game for $40, $50, $60 if I just can pay $5? Well, that was the beginning, brother, to hook you in. And now we can all of a sudden from they just announce it one day, hey, 20 to 30, brother. And that's what happens. That's what happens. But yeah, I hope, again, those are my thoughts. I'm curious of your thoughts on, so leave the comment, bell the notification, guys. And now we done with talking, bro. Like, who is ready for the sworn? Ready for the sworn. Are you ready for the sworn? You know what I mean? Are we ready? Because this is gonna hop on. You better hop on, brother. Better hop on. I'm gonna invite you guys. Oh, scheiße. We're gonna go. But yeah, man. The game industry is crazy. I know, man. That was pretty cool, right? It was. Hey, man, I'm always getting got blown away by the industry, and I'm learning. You know, like I'm just like, I don't know what the hell, but I'm finding pretty fascinating to always learn about these things, man. Okay, so let's just invite the first guy, start parties. That's the one. Yo, yo, yo. Okay, we are going to go. That's a one. And then I'm gonna invite more people on. Yeah, Drew. Okay. It should work. Okay. I'm gonna host the game. Yes, sir. Crazy, right? Okay, join. So I saw the run, Andrew. What you did. So yeah, right? It's pretty insane. Man, it's absolutely insane. I was actually shocked in here. I was like in here, bro, like with open mouth, like, what? You know, it's like...
Yeah, like they're not getting an inflated budget for a sequel, you know, like they're working with the same exact they did on the first. So they put all their resources into improving like the features and functionality while developing like a new story.
Yeah.
And probably animations that come along with everything as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's not easy.
No.
And if you don't have more money, you can't hire more manpower. You know, a lot of like companies when they have like big budgets like that, they outsource like a lot of that kind of work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm pretty sure Sucker Punch probably did everything in house.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, there's all those factors. It's pretty crazy. Sorry, you got my mind going with that one now.
It's really good, right? That's good, dog. I love those takes, because I think that's why it's then important to like once you know or start seeing these things, right? Now you can have a conversations. Like now you can actually have a conversation. It's really just fascinates me. Hey, I might be fucking totally wrong, right? Because again, I'm also going into different articles, why not, or different sources. But it's like when you start seeing these things, and then this is the thing, as long as it doesn't hurt you as a consumer, it's fine. But it usually in future it does. You know what I mean? Because then you have to pay for these fucking things. And, you know, it seems like, okay, misallocate. It's like, in Sony, they have, bro, like the Concord, for example, the $400 million. That's insane. But that's just a rumor, right? That's rumor. But you have the Insomniac leaks on Spider-Man 2. Or Last of Us. Bro, like Last of Us Part 1. It's the basically same game as the sequel, right? But Last of Us Part 1 cost 20 million. And then you have a sequel, 213 million. Bro, how the fuck? And then also, it's like you think, with all the in mind, if I put more money, because that's like what they think. If I put more money, if I invest 3 times, 10 times, 5 times more, meaning we're gonna outsell it, right? We're gonna make more in the end. But turns out they don't sell more. Actually, with Horizon, they sold the same amount of copies as the first one, and the first one cost 6 times less. You know? Oh well, they also fucked up, I didn't mention, because they were putting the Horizon after first year, the Forbidden West, they put it on a extra, right? On a subscription. So that's where they lost the money. Then all of a sudden nobody bought the game. Now everybody just were on subscribing to it. So there's like a lot of factors too, but where do you get, that's why I was like talking about like where people or where the developers probably spending money. You know, you see those offices, those amenities, you know, then you see these lads. Yeah. Oh wait, I didn't invite you yet. Wait a second. Invite the friends.
I don't see it.
Okay, let's see. You know, it's just 1, 2. That's essentially what it is, right? It's okay. I'm gonna grab the stuff though.
Backfiring on them, you know.
You know, exactly. Like, and you know, again, I thought it was pretty crazy. It could have been some of the money being involved in those bundles, like for canceled projects inside the games, inside the projects, like Last of Us, right? For example, Last of Us, they were making. There's a single player game, we all know, but like then they were working on the multiplayer, right? But they then canceled it. They were working for 2 years or 1 year, over 1 year. That's some money lost, right? So that was involved in the budget too. So what the fuck, right? All the money, it's like in the budget. Like, is it? And then you see the guy wearing the watches for 70k. I'm not saying he's stealing from the company. Nah. Right, like they would be fucking crazy. But, you know, like, huh? Huh? You know, like, huh?
That's a global problem with like any corporation.
Yeah, bro.
But yeah, I think they definitely need to maybe scale some spending down in some certain areas. Divide that into the game development or however can help with a better product.
Yeah.
I mean, just to doing the comparison, I think all 3 of those games, you know, which are like four of the games that you were comparing to 4 different games.
Yeah.
Sequels are okay. I think Last of Us probably sold a lot.
Yeah. They all did, like, yeah.
Lingering flames or a loyal feline. One whisper.
You're stubborn.
Spider-Man sold a lot. But I don't think Forbidden West sold too much. I don't think.
No, the Forbidden West sold a similar amount as the first one. That's the whole problem. Right? They sold the same amount. But they thought if they put more money, like 6 times more, they're gonna sell more, but they didn't. They sold the same amount, which kind of like, you know, like for example, again with the Spider-Man, they had to sell 7.1 million copies to just break even, right? They sold 6.1 million copies and still didn't make money. Whereas then you have a Tsushima, right? They don't need to fucking sell so many. And it's literally outsold. Like they sold 11 million copies. And it cost them only 60 million. See that fucking, like, you see that, right? Like how they're like, it's crazy. So, again, Sucker Punch killed it. Like, they really did something really special, bro. Like, they really did something. I'm telling you, Sony's making money because of Sucker Punch. You know? They making tons of money. It's amazing. Okay, we got this. Okay. Bro, I should have gone for freeze. Yeah. Actually, dice so you can re-roll. Oh, also, wait a second. Let me actually close this stream, and I'm gonna turn on the short stream, like for shorts for this. We're not gaming. I'm going to just turn this off. Wait a second. So, yeah, this is the end. We're gonna switch on on a different form. The vertical. Okay, so let me just turn this off, and I'm gonna go multi-stream gaming.